In our last session, we did that how did early man discovered the fire, why was he afraid of it, and then we studied that what is needed to control the fire, right? So and to burn the fire, what do we need? That also we studied. So what can be done? In last session we read that there are two ways. Actually there are three ways, and the two ways were that one is remove the fuel. Second was to remove the air, means supply of oxygen should be stopped. And the third way of putting out a fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchstick or a candle to put it out. In doing so, you remove the hot air around the flame, bringing down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. It means when you want to put out the fire, one way which you can use is to remove the hot air which is surrounding the flames, right? So if you but that can be done if the fire is not that much strong. If there is weak fire and you blow it out, what do? You remove hot air around that part which is burning, and then you bring down the temperature, and this is the reason candle is blown out. And because you brought down the temperature below flash point. Sometimes water is sprayed on a fire. It absorbs the heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen and the fire is extinguished. Some fires cannot be put out with fire. Now, this is the important thing, that every fire cannot be, put out with the help of water. Because if you will put water, it will keep on burning and maybe it will go more stronger. So if water is sprayed onto an oil fire, the oil will float to the top of water and continue to burn. Now see, this is good example of telling you that every fire cannot be put out with the help of water. Suppose there is fire because of oil and you put water on it, then oil starts floating on the surface of water and it will not stop burning. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly. And now what will happen? Wherever the water will go, the fire will go because oil starts floating on the water. Then carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. So the fire can spread more. Water should also not be used on fire caused by electrical appliances. This is what you all know. You all know that when there is electric fire due to electricity, we never put water on it. Otherwise, there can be electric shock. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. A carbon di- a carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. I think all of you remember which extinguishers are available in the school. So they all can be used on electrical fire. So water shouldn't be used, otherwise person can get very heavy electric shock. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires, and we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. I think you all know that recently we heard about forest fires, and it was totally out of control, and I think it continued for months. Means you can say that even if we have progressed a lot, we have done so many, inventions, we have discovered so many things. Still, when fire becomes out of control and it comes in the form when it is more stronger than us, we can't control it. So, on the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. So, this is very important thing for us to know, that we should take care, that we have to keep this fire under control. Long ago, there were no firemen. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. In earlier time, nobody waited for, firefighters to come and put out the fire. Everybody knew that they had to do something to put out the fire. People formed human chains. I think you are understanding it. Human chains means at some gap, everybody will stand. All the people will stand at some gap and make a kind of line. They still do if required. Means in present time also they do it if it is required. And passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blaze. Blaze means that part where there are flames. So people make a human chain, and then what do they do? They pass on the buckets to each other, and they make this chain till the area where they find some pond where there is water, or where there is well. They used to do this thing, and today also in villages maybe, and wherever the need is felt, people make a kind of chain, human chain, and then pass on buckets of water so that fire can be put out. Now, there are laws about building construction which ensure that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risk. Now, new rules which are made by government for construction of buildings also tells that there must be gap in buildings, so that if there is problem, if there is fire in one building, it doesn't passes on to the next one. So there has to be some gap, so that a bit of risk can be reduced. You can say risk cannot, be removed here. Risk remove nahi hoga yahan par, but it can be reduced by doing so, by making new construction law. So every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms. So every building will follow the norms, the rules which are there for fire prevention. Bands of firefighting workers with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out the fires. In today's time, in modern times, there are fire brigades everywhere which can help if there is fire. They possess many skills, and these firefighters are not only trained in, putting out fire. They know so many things. They can climb on a building, they can save the lives of the people who are stuck in the building where there is fire. So they can do many things. They cut off electricity supply. They are also trained how electricity supply can be cut. Earlier we read that we cannot put water on electric fire. Suppose fire brigade reaches and that fire is due to electrical fault. Then what would they do? First of all, they will cut off the electric supply, power supply, knock down dangerous walls. They know how to break the walls which are dangerous. They are trained to spray water and other materials to bring fire under control. They know about other materials which can be used to put out the fire. They are also trained in first aid. In the picture you can see human chain, how they used to form. So they are also trained in first aid. Means firefighters are also trained in first aid, giving first aid if somebody gets injured. They can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke. Due to smoke, if somebody feels suffocated, and if some people are not able to breathe, these firefighters know first aid. They know how to make the person keep on breathing in such kind of situations. The discovery of fire and its uses helped early men to cope up with nature better. Gradually means slowly, adopt a settled mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. You must have seen that we all believe that fire is also God, because we talked about five elements, so these are godly elements. Among them fire is also one of them, so we keep thinking about it as divine power. Fire is divine power for us, so people worship it. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. So this is proved, this is clearly explained that fire is a good friend, but when it becomes enemy, then it can be very dangerous for everyone. So this is the end of the lesson.